into open session.
You don't need a motion to go into open session. We need to go live stream it, and then just call the roll and go through the
I'm
agenda.
sorry, it's early. Y'all getting me early. I need a roll call for open session.
Mr. Height,
Present.
Ms. Hubbard,
Here.
Ms. Wild, Ms. Jones,
Here.
Mr. Davis,
President.
Ms. Cousin.
Yes.
We have a
Okay. So it looks like we have been provided with a list of 38 applicants for the position that's been open, that's been vacated, I want to say. It's 100, I mean, for 1 year and is it 6 months
Just
of
about.
the vacancy? We have a total of, I want to say 38 applicants. Out of the 38, we have 2 that actually missed the cutoff deadlines. Clearly, we're not going to be able to go over 38 applicants today on this call. We're going to have to assess how we are going to be able to review all the applicants that we have and what this process is going to look like in reviewing the applicants, as well as after we review the applicants, what the voting process would look like, what the interview process would look like, and how we would, I guess, as a board, go through the process of elimination. So this is the time for
President Cousin, I'm sorry, point of order. The agenda has the safety resolution first, so we're out of order on the agenda.
Okay, well, could we go through the safety resolution, please?
7 seconds.
Do we have the safety resolution?
I can read it. I have it.
Dr. Borche.
Whereas St. Louis Public Schools, SLPS, has a responsibility to ensure that all students who reside in its boundaries can safely access a free public education in accordance with the United States Supreme Court's decision in Plyer versus Doe. And whereas the Board of Education recognizes that the denial of admission to school or participation in any district program based on a student's undocumented status is a violation of the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. And whereas the Board of Education further recognizes that undocumented students and their student records are also protected under the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, and that this law applies to St. Louis Public Schools. And whereas the Board of Education, by adopting this resolution, intends to affirm its commitment to a safe and supportive school environment for all students, regardless of immigration status. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of the City of St. Louis as follows. All requests made of St. Louis Public Schools by officials seeking to perform immigration enforcement activities on SLPS property shall be processed through the superintendent/superintendent's designee to ensure compliance with the law. Schools shall not permit such officials to access students at school without having first contacted and processed their request and all relevant documentation through the Office of the Superintendent. SLPS shall treat all students in an equitable manner and provide equal protection under the law without regard for race, ethnicity, immigration status, or national origin. Resolved on the third day of February 2025.
I'd move to adopt the student safety resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Ms.
Yeah.
Vaughn,
Mr. Hikes,
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Cousins.
yes.
Okay, the motion for immigration enforcement and
They call it school safety.
the school safety. Okay, motion passed and the school safety immigration enforcement has been accepted as read.
Thank you for that, Dr. Borshay.
Say if there's anything that they call it.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, my apologies. Can you all, enlighten me what's next on the agenda?
Next is the applications for board vacancy.
Thank you, Vice President Davis. As we were stating, my apologies for that, Dr. Borshay. I didn't realize that was on the agenda. So thank you for bringing that to the attention. That is very important, and that's something that definitely we should have been focusing on. So thank you once again for that. Now to the next most important thing that we're here to discuss, as I talked about, is the applications in regards to the school board vacancy. As we talked, we have, I want to say, over 38 applicants for this one position. So this is a very important topic, something that we need to look at. Clearly, we won't be able to review 38 applications at this time. We do need to discuss and assess how we're going to move forward in this process. I know that this was something that Vice President Davis and the other board had really been working on. We did do the process of opening up the application, creating and posting the application process. We're trying to move in this process as diligently as we possibly can. But as I've stated, there are a lot of applicants that have gone and applied. Some have completed the applications as a whole, and some have not. So publicly, we are trying to do this the right way and be as transparent as possible. So as a board, I want to ask, have you all received the applications at this time? And I know the question that I want to ask is, have you had the opportunity to review the applications at this time?
I just want to start out saying I you as many as I could, but I could not complete the complete review because I didn't have the entire list. There were so many, but not all. There were a lot, and I felt I needed a lot more information because a lot of the applications were incomplete, and I tried to search around to find out more information, but the people that submitted applications.
So I'm looking for feedback.
It looks like over the weekend, we've gotten 17 applications in full to review, but this list has 11 more. I think I had a list earlier from Ms. Perry that had some people that we were missing that we haven't seen the applications for. So I do think we're going to need to get those other 11 applications to review. In terms of the 17 that we've received, I was able to go through them and at least identify who actually completed the questions. It does clearly seem that some of these things were either spam or just not serious. Some of them may actually have been job applications, or I think there was one that looked like a magnet school application from a student.
Right.
So, I do think it's possible to very easily narrow down what are serious applications and what aren't. So I've narrowed down, I've got 8 out of that initial 17 that, seemed like the application was complete. There were questions, there was an attempt at least to answer them. without judging the quality of the answers. I think you can narrow that down to 8, but again, there's that other 11 that we haven't received.
Board Member Hubbard.
I was able, I'm sorry. I reviewed all the ones that were in there last night, and I pulled about 6 out that seemed like they did the application, were mostly qualified, if not all the way, like they thought through their questions. And I did a quick skim of the ones that I guess got added this morning they're on the Diligent platform. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to read them all. And the second batch seems to have some strong candidates. So no, I'm not prepared, but I do think we should be able to again, there are some that are just kind of out there and not really board applications.
So is it safe to say that we can start doing do some process of elimination with those that we see that are not serious, or that are not complete, or that we know, really haven't done what they should be doing in regards to filling out the applications? We can just, as a board, just kind of remove those and narrow the list down to where they need to be. I know one of the applicants I saw, they used the PO box in part of their application. So that person, definitely we couldn't use that person. So I think it will help us as a board to just start kind of, dwindling the list down in that manner first. And then from there, we'll be able to move forward in the next phase of what we're trying to do.
That sounds about right. Because I mean, I looked at it and I got it down to, I got like 6 question marks and 3 check marks where I thought they were viable. So that sounds reasonable to me.
So how else do you all want to proceed? If we're going to do the process of elimination by that way, what would the next step be from that?
I like these applications. I'd like to physically see fill the applications and just get a good general overall feel for who people are, because just looking at their name and address and the brief description of what they said, some people seem like they went to a book and they wrote down what they thought we want to hear. And I don't know, I almost feel like I want to have them zoom in or something or if they don't come in, have them zoom in and ask them and talk to them personally, because this application process is great, but it's nothing like talking to the individual themselves.
I agree. I think we should go into an in-person. I think the Zoom is fine in reviewing the application, but I think that there should be an in-person interview phase of what we're doing. Is that what you're saying, Secretary Jones?
Because there's nothing like actually talking to a person to get a feel for what they are speaking of and how they feel about a different topic. So
I agree.
Well, I mean, I agree. My thinking was all along that we would pick the applicants who, who we want to interview, and then that has to be an interview in the public session. I thought that just scheduling wise, we were going to try to start on Thursday and then possibly do Thursday and Friday. I mean, I guess my problem is I've got, and I looked at it, I've got 5 from the applications that I've actually reviewed, but I know that there was another list that showed that the applications were completed, and then we got the new list again this morning. There's even more people where it just said whether it was an attachment. So we got to go through that to see, because some of the attachments weren't the attachments were supposed to be the completed answers to the questions, and some of the attachments were not that.
Right.
And so just because it has an attachment doesn't mean that that's a completed application. So I had 5 people from that first batch of 17. And I'd be happy to share my names from that first batch of 17 if we want to start with that. And start to try to schedule those people. And then, of course, any other board members who have additions to that list. I think any board member who wants to interview somebody, I don't think it needs to be a vote, in my opinion. I
Yeah.
think if you want to interview somebody, just we'll say the name and we can add it to the list. But then we'll need to also come back and do the other 11. And I don't know when we want to try to do that, especially if we want to start interviewing on Thursday, because I mean, in the perfect world, we'd be swearing somebody in at the board meeting on Tuesday.
So your list could very well be the same list that others have. So do we want to go from that step to see what your list you have, and could it be the same as other lists? I mean, as other board members' lists?
I just
I'm
want to, no, I don't have the same list as, my list is incomplete. And I haven't had to see everyone that I should have an opportunity to look at. Because
Okay.
right now, I don't have anybody.
Okay. Okay, you don't have anybody, Secretary Jones?
No.
Okay. Okay. Dr. Borshade?
Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I want to say and caution us not to name a number, because on our end, we have a minimum of 38 completed. Let me say this, a minimum of 38 submitted applications. And when we say submitted, we're not determining whether they're complete or not complete. We're just saying submitted. And we're leaving that up to the board to determine if they are complete or not complete. We're submitting to the board what has been submitted by the applicants.
And yeah, and I get that. But I think from what I can see, unless I'm missing it, because it's been in a couple different places, I've only received copies of 17 submitted applications. I'm missing 11. And of the 17, I have reviewed them, and I personally would invite 5 out of those 17 to come, because in my judgment, those were the only 5 that were seriously completed applications according to the directions. Other board members could have other judgments and can add to that list.
So I hope they're all in Diligent. Anyway, I'm going through the added files and at least making sure that we don't focus on the people who are not answering the questions.
Right.
So I can share that in the chat, because I don't know who posted where, but some of these are not the right things at all.
Yeah, I'm just looking through what's added. One was a charter bus request form for first student. Like, it's gonna take some time.
Yeah, but there are some really good answers as well.
Well, I just want to say I would like to receive all 38 before I say anyone number or whatever or persons, because I feel like I don't have everything in front of me, and if I could come downtown and pick up that list, that would be fine as well.
We'll have that ready for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, looking at what I'm seeing, someone just sent their resume. So what say the board next steps?
Well, just to clarify, are all 38 now in Diligent Community?
Are all 38 applications and diligent community? Is that the question, Vice President Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Bond?
Mute. Yes, ma'am. So as of right now, there are we have 10 that are not submitted into diligence.
Would it be possible, because I thought the zip folder was actually more helpful because the attachments were combined, because in community, the attachments are separated, so sometimes it's hard to see if the attachment goes to the application. Would it be possible to get all 38 in the zip like you sent out on Saturday?
Yes.
I would also ask that we also put it in community so that we don't have them in two different places. So whatever is in community also matches what's in that zip drive.
So I guess the question for the board is, if we get that information today, how much time do you need to review all 38? And can we reconvene? And do we agree that we just go around, everybody names the people they want to interview, and then we begin setting up those interviews for in-person interviews in a public meeting?
That sounds reasonable. Vice President Davis.
So how long, Tracy, would you need to look over those and come up with your list?
I got a list right now, but with the added ones, I can probably get it done tonight and have it for you Thursday, you know.
I would say Thursday or Friday would be fine.
Board Member Hubbard is picking, trying to unmute.
I could be Tuesday or Wednesday. If we're gonna wait for the whole list to be done by Thursday or Friday, it does make sense to start contacting people from the first batch to keep moving forward, right? So we could do that. Maybe we could do those interviews on the Thursday night meeting that we have planned. And then also say that, decide the names for the second batch. I don't know, does that sound good to anyone?
That works for me, but again, I've already been through all the 17, so I'm in that position. If there's board members who haven't been through the 17, I don't know if that's going to work for them.
So are you all saying that the goal is to start setting up interviews for Thursday and Friday? Is that what the board is looking to do?
Well, like I said, we got 38 people and applications, and I don't feel like I'm doing what I need to do by not looking at all of them and then making a decision about whom I would like to list. Because right now I don't have anyone, because I know that I have not looked at everyone, and I don't want to waste the board's time with selecting names. And because we got someone on here who put a picture of a plate of ribs on there. So I really want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing here, looking at everybody at the same time.
I agree. So Secretary Jones, are you saying that you feel comfortable going over the applications and you have enough time to do so, and that in doing that you will be able to have a list of people, and that's enough time to be able to set up or provide your list to be able to set up interviews for Thursday and Friday?
Yes, because definitely feel like I need to really look.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
I have a
And I
question.
just want to make sure everybody else, all the other board members are in agreements with that as well.
So are we going to eventually compare our list? Because I can have 5 of the names that Matt had. And
That's yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And what would that look like? I guess the question, once we all come up with the list, is it that we provide it to Ms. Vaughn? Ms. Vaughn may contact with the people to do, to set up the interviews? What's the timing of the interviews? How long will the people get to, do they get 10 minutes, 15, or what is the interview time frame?
Look like.
Like, what is that going to look like? Dr. Boardishade, I'm guessing that was what your question was going to be.
Yes, that was my question. How long would it take for the applications to be reviewed? And then will we give everyone 48 hours notice so that they will be ready for an interview on Thursday or Friday? So yes, that was my question. Thank you.
What say the board?
Well, I guess. Well, I will get on, and once she have everybody's list, we can go from there. Once she have everything in hand that she needs, then we can go from there.
Yeah, but we'll need the structure of what it looks
That's
like.
just my opinion, and I mean,
I'm sorry, Board Member Hikes, you was breaking up. We still need a structure on, are we giving it, is the interviews going to be 15-minute increments for each candidate that we're interviewing? Like, how is the process going to be? So, yeah, because Ms. Bond will need to know what she's going to be telling each candidate.
All right. 15 minutes, I think that'd be a bit much.
Right.
To me, I mean, maybe 5 minutes. Give it each candidate 5 minutes.
I agree, Tracy.
And,
All right.
What say the board members? Vice President Davis, Board Member Hubbard, what do you all think?
I mean, I kind of envision people can sort of give a statement and then we all get to ask questions. I mean, some people maybe 5 minutes, some people, I mean, maybe a half an hour. I don't know. I don't know how you could limit the time, but I thought maybe give people if you want to set a time frame for people to introduce themselves, and then each board member can go through with one or maybe, I mean, I could even see 2 rounds of questioning to do follow-ups if possible. I don't know how long that would take.
Yeah, I like putting a time on like their introduction. And then I don't know if we want to work on a roster of questions so everyone gets the same questions or what, but limiting to 5 minutes for the whole thing seems like not enough time. 15 minutes for everybody might be too much time, but like Matt says, some may have more questionable things that we need to ask about.
I think I was looking at 15-minute per candidate, because you got to look at how many people you're actually going to be interviewing. If you're saying 15-minute per candidate, and we're doing it span, you're giving them a minute or two to do their introduction. And like you're saying, Board Member Hubbard, you're doing a roundabout when you're asking questions. Each board member gets to ask a question, a follow-up question. Now you're giving them time to do whatever, and then it's the next person, the next candidate coming in to ask the question. 5 minutes is kind of the short time to have somebody come out to do an interview, but we still need to try to get an understanding of what this person and why they're actually coming and applying to be on this board.
So President Pleasant, my question.
So my question.
Hey, right?
I'm sorry, what did you say, Secretary Jones?
3 hours, 3 or 4 hours, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if you're doing 15 minutes and depending on if we're doing a process of elimination, how many candidates you're actually going to be interviewing. I mean,
Right,
some
yeah.
use the whole 15 minutes, some may not. You know, like Vice President Davis said, you just don't know, but you still giving them a 15-minute time frame to be able to interview for the spot.
So that being said, with the 38 that we have,
We have
how low?
38, but we don't necessarily have 30. We have 38 that have applied, but out of the 38, they don't, you know, you're going to do process of elimination. Not all 38 completed the application. So say you have 38, but by the time we're done doing process of elimination, we probably will be down to 20.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
yes, ma'am.
And then out
So-
of the 20, you know, everybody, all the board members review the 20, then you may be down to 10, you know, that everybody, you know, pick from the list. So now you're looking at 10 people and now that you're going to be interviewing in 50, you know, that they're given 15 minutes to be interviewed.
Okay, thank you, President.
Bless you, Dr. Bordeshay, and you have your hand up.
I just want to make sure you all give yourself time to create your list of questions. Give yourself time to review all of the applications. And that may take more than, it may put you into Monday of next week. I just want to make sure that you all are considering all those things and as you're making your decision.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we just put this topic back on to the Tuesday regular meeting agenda? At that time, we can then select the people who we're going to interview and establish when those interviews will be. Because clearly, we're not going to be able to get this done to have somebody sworn in for the Tuesday meeting. We're putting this, you know, another 30 days off. Because we don't have the complete list of applications. People haven't read through the ones that have already been submitted. You know, I mean, that's the first step. And we're ahead of ourselves to even come up with a list of questions if people haven't even read the 17 that they've been given. So that would be my suggestion. Let's just get the 38. People can read them and be prepared to come to our regular board meeting on Tuesday. It needs to be an item on the agenda. And we can name the people we want to interview and establish the date and time when those interviews will happen.
Yes, I think given that the application window closed on Friday, January 31st, I think that is a great suggestion. Thank you.
You can add new board members on a regular business meeting.
Yeah, I mean it just has to be in a meeting, so we can put whatever we want on the agenda. But we're going to be meeting next Tuesday, so rather than trying to schedule another special meeting, find time when everybody's going to be there, it should be understood that all of the board members will be present next Tuesday at our regular board meeting. And that gives everybody time to go through all 38. As long as everyone understands, come to that meeting and be prepared to, you know, have a list of the people that you want to interview. And then once we establish that list in the open meeting, then and we also need to talk about when we want to have these interviews. And then because that'll have to be in an open meeting as well, and people will have to have time, you know, to be contacted to, you know, arrange their schedules to come in and interview. So we'll need to talk about all that on Tuesday.
So Matt, are you saying this can happen during the work session?
The regular meeting is next Tuesday, yes, so we could do it on the regular agenda because we will be there.
No,
I think she's asking, can we vote? We will vote and swear in the new board member at a work session.
I mean, we could,
Yeah, we can.
but between the time that we select the people to interview and swearing in, we'll have to find a time to interview those people.
Right. So is everyone good with that?
It works for me.
So I'll make a motion to table this agenda item until the next Tuesday regular board meeting.
For a second.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any discussions? Ms. Vaughn?
Mr. Hikes,
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard,
Yes.
Ms. Val, oh, no, Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Cousins.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed.
Any other discussion?
To table the applications discussion for a board meeting added agenda on February the 13th, 11th. 13th. Okay. I have a question. So is this an open or a closed session?
Open.
Open.
Any other discussions? Need a motion to adjourn? Board Member Hubbard, did you have a question?
I just wanted to say I'm really thankful for our resolution and that we passed it. I think it's going to mean a lot to our community. So great job on that. I
Thank
make a
you
motion
all.
to adjourn.
Any other discussions? Need a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Vaughn?
Mr. Heights,
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Cousins.
Yes.